My job is all about purpose.
Just the ability to make a difference, to help someone be able to go home at the end of the day.
My great-grandfather started the volunteer fire department in Springfield, Nebraska. My grandmother was a nurse. My uncle was a fire chief in Atlanta, Georgia. So somewhere down the line, it was my purpose to be doing this.
Yeah, we're a family here.
The data we get from Rapid SOS is life-saving.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact on the first responder answering the call? Available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
And so then the other one I remember, once I was, farther along, it was a double overdose. A mother and father went upstairs. Their 40-year-old son and his friend both overdosed. They were both unconscious. So I had to give CPR instructions to them. I said, put it on speakerphone. So the husband is giving CPR to one person. She's giving CPR. At first she didn't want to because she said, I just had surgery and I have a wound here. I said, ma'am, if you don't do CPR, then he's going to die. So she's giving CPR to her own son. The son made it. The other guy did not make it. I left the floor, went to cry in the bathroom, and I called my husband. He prayed for me over the phone. So that was that was my first very hard call.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. This episode is sponsored by Rapid SOS, Safer Together, and a big shout out to subscribers as always. Thank you for everything. Also, it is super cold in this room. I've got a sweatshirt on. Last night when I did Open Mic Live, I had a beanie on. Yeah, it was that cold in here. Surprisingly enough, you've not seen my breath or anything. But if you are part of Snowmageddon 2026, if you have been in the area, you know what's going on. It's like from Texas all the way northeast. It has been crazy. Just ice, snow, everything. Looking outside right now, the sun is actually out for a moment. My kids have been wanting to go outside to sled, but it is like -13 out there. And they've been asking, like, how long do you think we can be out there before, like frostbite starts setting in and all this other stuff? And I said, I think you've got like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Like you might as well just not go outside. Wait till it gets a little bit warmer. But if you are out there, please be safe. And if you have been working for all of this, thank you very, very much for being there and for working. I cannot imagine what you were all going through because it has been, just from what's been on the news, it has been crazy. But thank you for all of it. And so much stuff coming up. We've got, we were going to be at the Be the Difference conference. That was going to be this week. However, because of the weather, it got postponed out in July. I will not be able to be there to teach after all because of those dates. I've got prior engagements, so good luck to all of you. It's going to be amazing. I know it will be, but there are so many things coming up, conferences, classes, all kinds of things. So make sure to look out for that. And just excited to be able to share all of that with you. And without further ado, I am very excited for my guest today because, well, there was an incident that happened in a liquor store with a trash panda. No, not a trash panda. Well, yeah, I guess trash panda. Um, you'll find out about that here in a moment. If you have been watching the news or you are on social media, you know about what we're going to talk about. I'm not going to say much more than that because I'm already laughing. This is going to be hard to get through. But what I want to do is I want to learn more about the call taker from this specific call, the 911 professional. So, my guest today, and I'm so happy that we're finally getting a chance to do this. We were supposed to do this around the time that this had come out, but I've just been, things have been crazy. I've been swamped, and I've apologized many times, but it is going to be worth the wait. So, my guest today is Shannon, and she's a 911 professional out of Virginia with 8 years experience in dispatch.
Hello.
Hello, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Survived the snowmageddon.
Yes. Yeah, we were talking about that just a little bit before we started, but for those who are watching and listening now, you say you survived Snowmageddon. How was it going on? Were you getting a lot of that weather that was coming through or not so much? You had mentioned that there was several phone calls that was more traffic for you guys that you're used to. So how has it been going?
Well, we got between 5 to 8 inches. It started around on Saturday. My husband dropped me off at work Saturday, so I stayed overnight till this morning. Well, till about, I think I left around 11 a.m. today. So that's the first time I've stayed at work in 8 years.
Oh
And
man.
they had cots set up for us, but truthfully, it really went well. We were very prepared. We had people at our emergency operations center handling things, and people stayed home, thankfully. So we did not have a lot of crashes. We did have disabled. There's a few people, obviously, who had to go out,
Yeah.
but it really was low call volume compared to what we've been used to.
See, and that is awesome to hear, and especially awesome because as we were saying before, and as we know, and a lot of people who are watching and listening to this know who are in public safety and 911 and such, and this is not against anybody, but sometimes people end up going out, even when it there are warnings that say essential travel or even just emergency travel, but people are like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna go and do whatever," and they end up in a ditch sometimes. So I'm glad that those folks were listening and not going out because that doesn't always happen.
Right.
For the area that you work in and everything, or just dispatch alone, really quick as we're getting into this, how many people work on the floor at a time at your center?
So we have 5 during the night and
Mhm.
6 during the day. So we have 3 shifts. Well, yeah, we have 3 shifts. We have a 7 a.m., 7 p.m., and vice
Mhm.
versa, 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., and vice versa, and then a let's see, what's the other shift? The other shift is 7. Did I mention 7 to 7? So
Ye
I feel like I'm missing one. 7 to 7. No, I guess that's it. 7
It
to 7.
seems like more, right?
Oh no, there is one. So
Oh,
we
there's
just
more?
started it in January. So 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. and vice versa.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Man, so you've got 5. So you're a little bit bigger than my old center. We had
really.
3 as a minimum, and
Okay.
then on the weekend, we had, 4. If there were
Hmm.
any, bad storms or anything like that going on, we did have a 5th console there, and we could have somebody come in and sit at that 5th console. So let's go back in time, 8 years ago. How did
Okay.
you get back, or how did you get into, dispatch to begin with?
Okay, interesting story. So I homeschooled. Well, I graduated with with a criminal justice degree, did prison work. I was a rehabilitation counselor, and then I did that for about 7 years. Stayed home, homeschooled my son all the way through. And when he graduated 2017, well, back up a little bit. I started for our sheriff's office. They have a citizens police academy. So I went through that, and then you can volunteer for the sheriff's office. So I started volunteering in their training academy, doing scenarios with their new deputies so that they could practice, doing traffic stops or going to calls for service. I was a role player. And one of the deputies there said, "You should be a dispatcher." And I had just once my son graduated, I'm like, I need to get a new job. So I applied for dispatch, and I got the dispatch job. And I still volunteer for the sheriff's department, but now I'm doing
Yeah.
the radio for them.
Nice.
At their training academy, I help them learn, how to use the radio properly and all that.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, you get to show them how to use the radio properly?
yeah,
Oh,
it's pretty
snap.
fun. Yeah, and so a lot of the training they get, as they're on taking ride-alongs and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
they are with me learning exactly how dispatch wants them to say stuff, or can interpret, like, how do you want me to say it when I want you to run a driver's
Mhm.
license, stuff like that. So they ask me questions like that. It's really great to work with them.
That is pretty awesome, and
Yeah,
the fact that you ended up starting from, Citizens Academy,
yeah.
that is interesting as well, because I remember working in dispatch, and we wouldn't find out, and I would be the supervisor on duty as well. We wouldn't find out until almost the last minute, where I would get a phone call from the deputy director or the director, and they'd say, "Hey, Ricardo, I meant to tell you this before I left today." I'm like, "Oh, what's going on? Is everything okay? You've got a Citizens Academy that's probably going to be," and we hear, "Brr," like, they're here right now. Okay. And yeah, and then they would just start laughing. They'd be like, "All right, well, good luck. Have fun." Like, what?
To give them a tour. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
exactly. Luckily, we had emergency management there, so they would usually go over there first and do what they had to do. But as soon as I hung up the phone, and there, someone is already talking over the intercom, like, Citizens Academy, and then they would look at me and I go, "That was the phone call right now.
Right.
Just so everyone put your crap away, get ready because we're about to be a fishbowl right now."
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because people would, they would walk in and of course they would be looking in at us and we're just sitting there, "Welcome to dispatch." And, they go to the EOC and they go through like a little presentation or whatever,
Yeah.
and we're like, "All right, here we go. They're going to be coming in."
Hmm.
So the people would come in and they would just observe us, and we would be talking with them and everything else. So that's kind of cool. That's cool that
Yeah.
you got through that, and then you come in. Now,
Mhm.
did you, even though you got to see some of dispatch and everything, did you get to do a sit along, or was it just interview and you're coming right in?
I don't recall ever doing a sit along, but I've had many people sit along with me now,
Hmm.
now that I'm doing it. But I don't remember ever sitting in there. I had a little bit of experience when I was doing the role playing. Another dispatcher that I didn't know then would come in and help a little bit with that. Or one of the deputies would have a radio and pretend to be the dispatcher there while we were doing scenarios.
So you had your interview and everything, and then you end up finding out you get the job. So
Yeah.
how are you feeling at that moment? Once as soon as you like you hang up and you're like, "I got it."
I know, I was so excited, and I had really prepared, like, I learned all my 10 codes ahead of time. I learned, because I was hanging around the deputies a lot, so I knew a lot about their side of it.
Mhm.
So that's part of what I said in my interview and stuff like that. I truly prepared. I really wanted this job because I was older than a lot of the people that normally apply for this job. I was 47 when I got this job.
Mhm.
So, I was super stoked. And I was nervous, very nervous, because I'd never spoken on the radio and stuff like that before. So I was very nervous.
See, and you know what I love about that is there have been I've seen this on social media. I've heard people ask questions or whichever, but excuse me. What I've heard some people say is, don't some people try to get in, to dispatch when they're at an older age or whatever, and sometimes they don't make it because it's so fast paced and all this other stuff. But man, I don't believe. I mean, you're a testament right there. You're proof right there that anybody can come in and learn how to do this as long as you really work at it, right? And you
Yeah.
really want it. I mean, like you said, you were prepared right there. You ended up going through all of your codes, and I mean, you were excited. I mean, I can feel your energy just the way you're talking about it, that you were that excited to do it, and I think that is awesome. Well done. I applaud you. Well
Thank
done.
you.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I worked really hard. I was taking notes every time I did sit with somebody when we were in the academy. They put us out on the floor and sit with people. I mean, I had a million questions I would ask them. I'd write notes. I mean, I really worked hard to do the job. And I had to do remedial for my strongest radio now is police. I had to do remedial during police training. I was, they needed to get me over that hump of struggle that I had.
Mhm.
But I know you're talking about training a little bit more, but yeah, it was not easy to do. But and one of the things that I appreciate is my boss has told me now she started in Richmond, Virginia, which was, or in New York. She started in New York City, which would be way different than where we are right
Oh
now.
man.
But she told me that it would be very hard. She would have not been able to do the job starting at the age I did. And I think of it was very easier for me because I have so much more life experience and just
Mhm.
more chill at this age. I'm super impressed by the 20-year-olds that I work with that are so calm under pressure and they handle everything so well because I wouldn't have been able to do that when I was in my 20s.
It's weird to think because when I started, I was 19 going
Really?
on 20,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because I'm the oldest of 4, so, I had a lot of responsibility with my siblings
Yeah.
and, working at an early age. I've been working since I was 12, so at
Oh, yeah.
all kinds of different jobs. I don't know, I just add that to to, what, probably helped me get through it and everything, but I love the way you put that, just more life experience
Yeah.
and just more chill. I mean, that is spot on. That is right on. So when you walk in that first day to start
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking at everything, like what are you looking at? Is it multiple monitors, multiple people? And also, how are you feeling walking in for that first day?
Like I said, I was terrified. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to? Because never was a real multitasker before. My husband would literally say, can't you talk on the phone and wash dishes at the same time? I'm like, no, I got to sit down and focus on this conversation. So I was a little nervous thinking, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, these people are typing, talking on the phone, on the radio, all at the same time. Am I even going to be able to do this? So I was nervous. And the trainers were great. They like helped me adjust to all of that.
See, and that is a good thing as well, to have folks that are in there that they just genuinely want you to succeed. And
Mhm.
it's not that there are, folks when you go in that don't want you to succeed. It's just there's a different guard from years past who are just like, "We'll see if you make it," which sucks. And there are still some places out there that are kind of like that, but the majority of them now have taken this stance and are, doing things differently where they it was more recognition, right? And more help, more resources even to begin with all of it. And it's just a completely different guard. So I'm glad that you ended up coming in and you had
Mhm.
trainers that recognized certain things and really wanted to put forth that effort to make sure that there was nothing left to chance and that you were going to succeed. So yeah, just you describing how you felt, I felt the same way when I first
Mhm.
started.
Yeah. Yeah, and they really do try to pair you with trainers that are similar in personality or know how you need to learn. Been good. And even at our agency this year, they've started a new thing. The newest classes that have been coming out,
Mhm.
they get to practice more on the floor. They put them on training CADs and get them doing traffic stops early and stuff like that. I really saw a difference with one of the trainees I had from the most recent class. They knew more. They were prepared more. So that was good.
I love that as well because thinking back to when I first started, not just even the very first center, because the very first center, that first night that I was in dispatch on a midnight shift, I watched my trainer take a phone call and then he turns around and looks at me and he goes, "You're next." And I went, "What?"
Right. I
Like,
would have died.
oh, I thought he was joking, but he was serious. He was
Oh,
not joking with me at all. He
yeah.
goes, in order for you to be able to do this, you have to do it. You have to get in there and do it. Luckily, it was a butt dial, that first phone call, because I'm sitting there. Oh, Shannon, I was sitting there sweating and
Right.
freaking out.
Right.
And the phone rings. Whew. And yeah, luckily it was a butt dial. The person's like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, no, no. Thumbs up. Like, we're good."
That's so funny. That's so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, then moving to the central dispatch in the county that I actually grew up in, now it's a different dynamic because now I'm working with a team and I'm trying to learn all of these different things that are going on, just like yourself. But I didn't get a chance to, so like the whole first phase, like that first, I don't remember how many weeks it was now, but it was all phones. It was all phones and protocols, codes, and all of that. And then you go straight to like radios.
Mhm.
And you're on there. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this because this is kind of freaking me out a little bit because I'm running all of it. Now, when you got on radios, how did you feel about that?
I was very nervous on radio, so they started me on what we have is called service radio, where the
Mhm,
deputies will run license plates and tag license plates and driver's licenses, and
mhm.
we run criminal histories and all that. And it incorporates the radio a little bit. But I was just so nervous, and my trainer's just like, just tell them you're having a conversation. Just tell them something. I was just terrified. What if I mess up?
Yes. No, I feel you. Yeah, because when I was on there, see, we have got a position that was the same. It was similar. So every state has a different name for it. The common thing though is NCIC, right? When you're running
Yeah,
all that stuff. But
yeah,
the terminal in Michigan, when we're running all of that stuff, it's called lean. And so they would say you're going to sit at lean and you're going to be doing backup phones and backup radios, but um, you're going to be going through like all of the license plates and all that other stuff.
yeah.
But I wanted to do such a good job
Right.
that just like you, what you were just saying, you just brought me all the way back. You made my hair stand up underneath my sleeves because I remember my trainer going, well, because I would look at my trainer and I would say, "It's just 10-4, right?" Like
Right.
that's all I have to say, right?
Right.
And they would just kind of stare at me and she would say, "Yes, Ricardo, it's just say 10-4 and 10-4."
10-4 for
And
everything.
and
Yep.
sh and she would go, "What's the deal?" And I would say, I don't wanna mess up, like, I don't wanna piss them off. I don't wanna make them mad or anything." And I remember her saying, "Listen, eventually you're gonna make them mad anyway, so just have them repeat or just say what you're going to say in your response and just get through it. You'll be
Mhm.
fine. And the
Yeah.
more you talk, the more confident you will be,
Right.
but you have to at least say something."
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah. They had the mentality, which I'm sure your trainers did as well, was, "Look, I'm going to let you take in a little water, but I'm not gonna let you drown, okay?
Right.
You're
Right.
gonna be fine."
Yeah.
And when it was finally time for me to be done with training, I remember my trainer said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "No. No. Like, I need, like, probably another month." And she goes, "Okay, good. You start tomorrow, like, you're done."
Right. Yeah. My
Yeah.
trainee that I'm training right now, I said, "You're ready. I'm gonna release you on, from the radio you're on Wednesday." She's like, I am. And I'm like, I said, are you? And she's like, well, if you think I am. I'm like, but in my heart, I want to make sure, because if she's not feeling comfortable, but again, sometimes you got to push that baby out of the nest is what I say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, you definitely do. So, going back a little bit, do you remember um maybe not just like your very first call that you took, but some of those earlier calls that you had taken? Do you remember any of those?
I do. When I was training on phones, my trainer was so great. He was so laid back. He would literally lay back on his chair like this, and it just gave me such a peace because I knew that he was not nervous at all.
Mhm.
So we took, I can think of two of them. The first one was this lady said, my husband just shot his head off. I completely blanked. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, I had never knew anyone would say that to me in my life. He immediately took over, pushed me out of the way, calmly helped her. It was great eye opening for me because I'm like, okay, you can't blank out. You got to tell her. But I had zero words, and he was right there, calm, handled the whole situation. It really helped me. And so then the other one I remember, once I was, farther along, it was a double overdose. A mother and father went upstairs. Their 40-year-old son and his friend both overdosed. They were both unconscious. So I had to give CPR instructions to them. I said, put it on speakerphone. So the husband is giving CPR to one person. She's giving CPR. At first, she didn't want to because she said, I just had surgery and I have a wound here. I said, ma'am, if you don't do surgery, if you don't do CPR, then he's going to die. So she's giving CPR to her own son. The son made it. The other guy did not make it. I left the floor, went to cry in the bathroom, and I called my husband. He prayed for me over the phone. So that was that was my first very hard call.
Oh man. I am I'm glad that you had that moment to be able to step away because as we both know in 911 anything can happen. And it's not just one emergency that's going on, right? And sometimes you get the chance to step away. Other times
Yeah,
there is no time. So
exactly.
I'm glad that with that first, kind of hard call that came in, that you were able to have that moment to step away.
Yeah.
Um, but also that other one too. I mean, that has to be probably one of the most shocking things to the senses
Yeah.
is to hear someone say that. And that is the moment when it all becomes real.
Yes.
When you are there and
Right.
you take a call like that, especially for the first one, the first, emergency or whichever that is coming in, and you're like, "This is what I signed up for. Like,
Right.
this is real. Like, this is what it's
Yeah.
all about."
That's a make or break moment because if I never wanted to hear that again, then I would have needed to go ahead and quit
Mhm.
because that's not going to be the first time. The
Right.
last time. It, it's just the first time. I've heard it since. So yeah,
And the fact that you went back
mhm.
after
Yeah,
after the one, you got a chance to go, like you said, you called your husband and everything, you had, your emotions come out and all of it, which is good. I'm glad that you did and not held it in or anything. But, the fact that you went back, that says
yeah,
a lot too, and I think there's a lot of folks that I've spoken to over the years who have taken calls similar in nature and priority where they have said to me, I'm glad that I went back in because
mhm,
had I gone home,
yeah,
I probably would not have gone back at all. I would have just said,
yeah,
you know what, this is too intense.
yeah.
And they went back and so did you. So well done because you're on 8 years now. So you
Thank you.
you end up, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You
Well, I
you
think
go through your, go ahead.
what when I talk to deputies, I'm like, I couldn't do your job because you literally were there with that happening. So I
Mhm.
think the layer of being away from it, just being on the phone with it, helps me. I don't think I would want to see it every day. I couldn't be on the
And
road.
it's interesting that you say that too, because there are a lot of officers that I've spoken to who have said, I could never do what you guys do.
Yeah.
I would, for example, there's a video that I did that came out recently, and there was a comment there from someone who's an officer. And the comment, I'll just s- say what I remember. I can't say it verbatim, but basically what he said is, I'm a cop and I couldn't do what you guys do. If someone is shot, I'll go out there, I'll see it, and I will deal with it. However, taking the phone call from a mother who's screaming because someone has been shot,
Yeah.
they're like, I couldn't do it. I
Okay.
couldn't do it.
Mm.
So it's interesting that we couldn't be out there, right? Some of us could not see that or whichever. And even with video to 911, luckily there's a blur feature and all of that so that you don't actually have to see it.
Yeah.
But they those out in the field can't do what we do. And I think it's also because of the fact that a lot of times we don't get that closure, right? And we are basically putting together these pieces to this traumatic puzzle that is going on, whatever it is that we're hearing that makes it that much more real for us because the imagination is a powerful thing.
It's true. And
And
yeah, I'm actually thankful that I know most of the deputies. So if I have a question about what happened or whatever,
Mhm.
then I can usually ask somebody and be like, hey, um, I can at least get that part of closure because you're right. We don't get that all the time. And you get 500 calls after that and you almost forget about the other thing that happened that you wanted to know about.
right. Yeah, it's that that gift of closure is everything because I know a lot of the calls that I took, I did not get that. And one call that and I'm still good friends with one of my coworkers. I actually grew up with her and her husband was a sergeant who was out on this one specific call where I had to do infant CPR and everything, but they had a detective go out there. So the whole situation, I won't go too deep into it, but the whole situation just kind of messed me up a little bit and because she was a supervisor at the time, I hadn't been promoted yet. But I remember I hang up the phone and she looks at me and she goes, "Are you all right?" And it was probably for the first time because I had started working on myself and everything. The first time that I actually said, "No, I'm not okay," versus what I used to say before, which was, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Of course I'm fine."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, what do you need? What can I do to help?" And I said, "Just have your husband come up when he's done if he can, because I need to know."
Yeah.
So he ends up coming up and he sits next to me and he says, "What do you need, man?" And I said, "I just need to know everything." And he told me. And to this day, when I talk to him, I will say thank you to him
Mhm.
for that gift of
Yeah,
closure because it means so much.
it does. Because, like you said, we fill in the blanks. And I mean, we make up stories about stuff. When we have calls, we're like, oh, this probably happened, that probably happened. We don't know what
Right.
really happened. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. The imagination runs wild.
it
And
does.
and sometimes when we're taking these calls, what we're creating in our heads is worse than what is going on
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. And then some of the training, this happened recently. I took a training where Gabby Petito's dad gave a training,
Mhm.
about domestic violence.
Yeah.
And then now, since then, when I hear a call and a lady can't speak very well because possibly she's been choked, she doesn't tell us that. It affects me more because I'm like, she's probably been choked. And it's sad because it happens a lot.
Yeah. It's how interesting is this profession as well,
Mhm.
in how trained our ears are
Yeah.
to hear so many different things within the environment
Hmm.
of that call
Yeah.
that you're just picking them up and picking them up and picking them up. And in this one class that I teach, I'll ask dispatchers sometimes, I'll say, "So, how many of you use your dispatch superpowers just everyday life?" Like you could be sitting there at, at a restaurant and you're hearing like 5 tables away what's going on and everyone's,
Yeah.
"What are you listening to?" Like, "That person's in trouble."
It's so true. You can listen to two things at once.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just, like, zoom in on what it is that is going on while still doing what you're doing all at
Yeah.
the same time, and or, you've got, I don't know, let's just for just confrontation-wise or anything, I ask people the same thing, like, "How many times has that saved you?" Where you're able to be calm,
Yeah.
cool, and collected.
Yeah. It's true. And I always say that we're detectives too. I bought a sweatshirt that said, basically a detective, because I'm going to find out.
Oh, for sure, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and if you call and you're playing on 911, we'll find you.
exactly. I know. They're like, don't you have my address? In fact, I do.
Yeah.
Sure do.
We're gonna send someone out.
Exactly. Yep.
So you mentioned as well that you do training. So, here's the question, because it's always one of 2 things, and I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is because you kinda said this already with the trainers that you had, when you first started. But what was your reason for wanting to be a trainer? Because for a lot of people, it's one of 2 things. Either they had really crappy training
Mhm.
and they wanted to become a trainer so that literal next generation of 911 that's coming in, they, can help them so they don't have to go through what they did, or they had really good training and that was an inspiration for them to be a trainer to continue that good cycle of training.
Yeah, I had good trainers, and then I homeschooled my son, so it's like I think that's just part of my life, like wanting to teach somebody something. So, I feel as I've grown in my job that I feel like I can convey to them how to do it as well.
Mhm.
And I've, grown as a person personally learning with adult learners, it's different and you have to adapt to them in certain ways. And that's been great. Like this new trainee I have now, she wants to do everything like all her notes are on the computer so she can search. And I'm like, okay, well, print those out because the computer might go down. But I've
It's
relied
true.
on yeah, I've relied on a notebook of all this paper, but I'm like, I need to make a way for this younger generation. They want to look everything up on the computer so I can take my old notes, upload them so that then they can have them on the computer because they don't like flipping through a notebook
Yeah.
unless they absolutely have to.
I love that, you are putting forth that effort to be able to do that as well, to make it easy for them too, but also at the same time, showing them old school
Yeah.
because because I remember when I was training a few people, and there was a girl there who, um we were told that there was some maintenance. It was just like out of nowhere for our CAD that this maintenance was going to happen. And and she looks over at me and she goes, "Ricardo, I how are we supposed to fill in all our stuff?" And I picked up my notepad and I picked up the pen and I said, "This right here." And she goes,
Yeah.
"No." And I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, dude." I'm like, "This is the
Yeah.
way you do it. You write down what they say and you write down the time."
Yeah.
And she goes, "So wait a minute. Are you telling me that when the computers and everything come back up, we have to hand type everything in?" "Oh, light bulb." Like, "Yeah."
So true. And it's like,
Yes,
and they'd give you like maybe an hour notice. So it's like screenshot all your deputies so you know who you have right now. And then you
exactly.
got to keep track. We have sticky notes everywhere like, oh, this deputy's here and this deputy's here. I mean, it's a madhouse.
Oh, I you you, uh, you just made me go back again because I remember we had these cards with the map and they were, separated into their sections, and yeah, we would get the sticky notes, we would write down like Baker 5, K91 or whatever, rip them off really quick and put them in those spots so that
Yeah.
we could so that we could remember. Oh man, you're really taking me back now.
But we always joke because I'm like, why are you doing this at 11 a.m. on a weekday? Why can't we do this at midnight or like 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yes, we love the IT people, but can we do it at midnight? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And so the CAD that we had, and for those who are watching and listening who are from the general public who don't know, CAD is computer aided dispatch. It's the computer that we type in all of the complaints and everything that come in. So the older one that we had before we upgraded, every night at 1 in the morning, every night from 1 to 4 in the morning, it would shut down.
No way.
Yes, it because they had maintenance that they had to do, and it was every shift
Oh
from 1 to
no.
4, and the officers, we would have to remind them every day when that was going on because they would say, Central, can you pull me a number for such and such?" And we'd go, "We're running maintenance right now. We'll give you the number, when it comes back up." And they
All
go,
right.
"Oh, that's right, that's right." But then at the end of the night, we would have to start putting in all of that stuff and add it in the narrative and, all
Yeah.
this crap and everything, and it was horrible, especially if it was wintertime like it is now, and
Mhm.
we've got cars all over the place, people are going to work and everything.
Yeah.
We could almost not catch up, but
Oh wow. No,
that's
I
how
would
we
love
had to
that.
do it.
Yeah. Right. So it's very rare. So my trainee, like you said, your trainee gave you a look like we have to do what?
Yeah.
So we're finishing up training this week. And I told her, well, we have to practice if the CAD goes down. She's like, huh? Like foreign concept. I'm like, literally, it goes down once in a while. And it's just like, does not compute.
Yeah, it's like you can have the best technology, but even the best technology is gonna go down sometimes for whatever the reason is, It doesn't have to be that something crazy happened, It just sometimes it happens, or
Right.
sometimes there's maintenance, and you have to prepare for that, which I'm glad that you guys do. Like, we would run scenarios, and we would do all different types of stuff, and, that's just sometimes how it would go. Now, how do you feel? Because you've got 8 years, in the profession now. How do you feel that the profession has kinda changed you?
Changed me. Wow.
Mhm,
Definitely jaded, and I don't want to say less compassionate because I feel the compassion is there, but I have to actively remind myself, and I've done this a lot this past year because I found myself no compassion.
mhm,
This, I may have taken 25 calls in a row, but this is their only call. The caller has called with their emergency. They haven't called 25 times.
mhm,
I've spoken to 25 different callers, but this person needs my undivided attention and my help. I have to make myself do that.
mhm.
That's not natural anymore with all that we've seen and heard. It's like you become desensitized is a good word because you hear so many crazy things. I mean, I watch crime TV and everything like that, and so I'm become desensitized that way too. So I literally, you have to make yourself remember that these are real people who have that's their only emergency and they need your help. And
Yeah, and I think, a lot of times with that as well, that's why conversations like this, is important, because I have told people, "You might hear my voice, and it might sound cold to you, or it might sound like I don't care. However, my voice has to stay level just like that in order for you to remain calm
yeah.
because of whatever nightmare you're living through right now. And it is my job to do that. But in the back of my mind, I'm freaking out just like you, man, because I
Hmm.
am human. I'm
Yeah.
human just like you are. And I've had so many people call in, and it's hard a lot of the times to keep that level of everything that is going on because that's how powerful the tone of our voice is, no less. Just the tone. If
Yeah.
someone calls in and my voice is a little off, and there would be some times that I would just, I'd have to check myself. I wouldn't knock on my head, but
Yeah.
I just, like, in general, I got to check myself, like, your voice is, because you can tell, when you're talking, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I need to take a deep breath.
Right.
But it's, I mean, 12 hours, right? And
Mhm.
you mentioned that you stayed there because of the weather, and I remember staying because of the weather as well, and there would
Yeah,
be times where, people would call in, for work, and because I'm the one who's there in the room because I stayed the night, I'm now getting forced over for another shift that I didn't know was going to happen, of course, because, the person got sick or whichever, but because I'm the one that's there and nobody is answering to take that overtime,
yeah,
it is I.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, in the past, it's been my 11th hour of my 12-hour shift, and I'm done. And I'm like, I'm not as nice as I should be. So I've learned from that, because that person who called in my 11th hour,
Mhm.
they don't deserve my attitude. That the fact that I've been at work for 11 hours has nothing to do with them. That is
Right.
their emergency, and they need me to be as fresh as I was on hour one.
Yeah.
So it's something you have to work at, because
Yeah, and
yeah,
I love that you say that as well because of the fact that you're aware of it, and that's a good thing. That is someone who does truly care about what they do, because there are some folks who aren't aware of that, and sometimes those folks are the ones who end up in the news, and you're
yeah,
like, it
yeah,
and it happens, it happens with some folks, and we just have to, continue to work to be just a little bit more aware, right? But there's just so many factors that play into a lot of this that happens, especially if you are on, like your third infant CPR in a row, and you're like, please, like a win. Like, just
yeah,
give me a win. Like,
right,
that's, and I don't know if in these 8 years, if you've noticed this or not, but one of the things that I always say to people, because it was something that I noticed, it was like I would take hard call after hard call after hard call, and whether you wanna call it the dispatch gods or the dispatch universe or whatever, it's like they roll the dice and throw you kind of a funny or outrageous one,
hmm,
and you're you don't notice it right away, but after you're done with that call, at least and this is just from my experience, I would think, "Thank you, like, I needed that."
yeah,
I actually needed that to get me out of that mode of all the chaos, the death or whichever, however you wanna put it, that I was going through with those calls because,
yeah,
obviously that's what they were, but then you get that funny one, you're just, I needed that."
yeah. And that's why I think it's good to have a good team. Like all of
Mhm.
us, we crack jokes the whole shift, like yelling back and forth at each other, fun stuff and everything. So that can help you through it too, in between calls, or someone did a CPR call and we all yell out afterward, "Good job, so and so," and that is really good.
I love that as well, and a few weeks ago, I was at a dispatch center in Michigan with some friends of mine, and I was recording some B-roll there for this project that I was working on, and it was the same thing. It was one of their, coworkers had just done CPR, they got a pulse back and everything, that they had mentioned that, after the phone call, but as soon as she hung up, it was the same thing. Everyone said, "Good job," and they were
Mhm.
looking out for each other, and I thought, "Man, that right there is what it's all about, supporting
Yeah,
each other and just being there." So that was a really cool thing to experience.
yeah.
Um, so I know I asked you about some of these calls in the beginning, and I don't know if it's the same or not, or if it was a different one, but if you feel comfortable sharing, a call that just kind of sticks with you.
I We had a officer that used to work. He was a sergeant when he left. He called in and he was saying that his son was giving CPR to a child, and the child did not make it. That that tore me up, because I'm just like, I was at a console where I wasn't physically attached. I could walk around. I remember walking around talking to him, "Do you need any help?" Because they were already doing CPR, so I didn't have to give those instructions. But that was a tough one. We have a child, that happens to. That's hard.
And I think that what makes it even harder sometimes for a lot of us is, if you have kids and they're around the same age, I feel like a lot of the people that I've spoken to on this program, or just in general, out of these couple decades that I've been in public safety, that has been one of the big things there. They have a kid that was around the same age, or they've got a niece or a nephew, or something like that. And it really hits hard. And that infant CPR that I mentioned earlier, excuse me, where I'd gotten that gift of closure, I remember coming home, and my son, who at the time I believe was about 4 years old, and he runs up and he's like, "Dad, you're home," and I hugged him, but I remember I hugged him tight enough that he winced. He was just like, "Oh," and I went, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm hugging you too tight. I apologize." But I just remember him asking what was wrong, and I said, "Dad just had a really hard day at work today." But I think in general, you don't have to have kids. I think just in general,
Mhm.
the elderly, little kids, stuff like that, or people that are just, in bad situations, it really hits you because sometimes you just want to reach through the phone and give them a hug, you
Yeah.
know? And you can't do that. You've got your voice, which is why I say it's your most powerful superpower that you have.
Mhm.
But it's a hard thing when people are calling in, and it's just that, I guess, that innocence, in a sense, where you just wish you could just hold them and just be like, it's gonna be okay. Whatever it is, it's gonna be okay. And it's a hard thing to get through, but you gotta get through it.
Yeah, I was thinking that it seems like calls that have affected my coworkers have
Mhm.
affected me as well, because I remember one of the older men that used to work there, he retired, but he took a call where a mother rolled over on her baby and the baby died. He's crying while he's giving her instructions or trying to get her to focus. She was screaming. He never got her to calm down.
Mhm.
And then another coworker recently was trying to help this couple with their baby. These men being affected by these calls they're taking affected me. I'm just like, I hated for them to have to go through that. They have to deal with those calls now, but it affected me seeing them go through that.
Yeah, the vibe that comes off from folks, like, you realize how connected we are
Hmm.
when you're going through things like this and experiencing these things that not a lot of people do. And I believe, I would say it's probably the same thing for all of you in your experience that it was for myself and my coworkers, where every so often I will talk with them and I'll just say, no one is ever going to know what that was like except for us,
Yeah.
because we experienced it and we experienced it together.
Yeah.
And it's in all places.
Yeah. And we are hard on ourselves. So that's one, particular one that just happened. He's like, man, I should have done this, man, I should have done that afterward. And I said, you know what? You were the one that was supposed to get that call, because we both went like this at the same time. He hit it first, to answer the phone. He hit it first. He was an EMT before. He was the one that needed to give those people instructions. I don't have that background. I was so glad he got that call. Not only that, I just didn't, I hope I would have done fine. I don't know how I would have done, but he handled it great. He had the life experience. And so I just tried to encourage him. Don't think about what you should have done. You did all that you could at that moment.
I love that. And I'm right there with you. I'm a firm believer. I tell people all the time, I'm a firm believer that there are some phone calls that are meant for us because of whatever experience we have, whether it be in our past, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some of those calls are meant for us. And like you said with your coworker there,
Yeah.
and that's why, because there is that experience where, like you said, you wouldn't be able to speak to those moments the way he could, because he's got that experience.
Right.
There was a gentleman that that I talked to who, we were in a class that I was teaching, and I remember during one of the breaks, he walked up and he goes, something that's really bothered me that you said. And I was like, oh no, what did I say? But he goes, you keep talking about how some of these calls were meant for us. And he goes, there was this one call. He goes, and if that call was meant for me, it had a bad outcome. And I said, well, tell me a little bit more about this call. So this call, it had to do with the caller, I think it was her son. He was having an issue, and he's an amputee. And he's telling me more about this call, and he's like, it didn't have the outcome that I would have wanted. So it's just kind of eating me a little bit that if that one was meant for me, then why was it a bad outcome, or, whichever. But then he goes and lifts up his pant leg. He too is an amputee.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at him and I said, bro, like that right there, that is the reason. Excuse me. I said, you were able to talk to that mom and give information that I would have never been able to do.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, and I said, don't dwell on the fact that it was a bad outcome. Instead, think about the fact that you were there to help the mom and speak to them in a better way than I could, because you too are an amputee. And even though it wasn't the outcome that anybody probably wanted, you can at least reflect on the fact and give yourself some grace that you were there for that person in their time of need to keep them calm. That you can hold on to.
Yeah.
And he just kind of was like, okay, all
That's
right.
good.
And then he went back and sat down. But I thought, what are the odds that, that person was an amputee as well, the call taker? Like,
Exactly.
that's why I say some of these calls are meant for us.
Right.
And
It's true.
so with that said, though,
I know what you want to get to.
with that said, like this is an interesting segue, because there's a call that you took, which I don't know how this would work, that it was meant for you, but maybe you have a twist on this. I don't know. But I'm going to play this first. So everyone who's watching and listening, I mentioned in the beginning about a trash panda. Okay. And so I'm going to play this, and then we're going to talk to Shannon about it. Okay. So let me throw this on the screen here really quick, and we'll go from there. So, all right, here we go.
So we got some brand new video tonight of an intoxicating thief making headlines tonight. But just so we're clear, this is not a panda.
Which I was today years old when I found out about that raccoons are called trashed pandas.
That's nice.
That's a thing.
But we already called it a raccoon. So you
That's
can't
what it
go
is.
rebranding what we've already called it, right?
Yeah. So you may have heard about this raccoon, right? Who went on a drunken rampage in a liquor store.
He was thirsty.
Yeah, he just wanted a little drink in Ashland, Virginia. Here's a new security video we're getting now. You may have seen the pictures by now.
Not
so you
the
can see that raccoon
video.
right there. He broke into the closed store Saturday morning and head straight for the bottom shelf, stocked with scotch and whiskey, the hard stuff, huh?
Oh, he's got fine taste.
Yeah, shattered the bottles, knocked down a ceiling tile, and let alcohol just pooled all across the floor.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. By morning, this raccoon is everybody. Passed out on the bathroom floor, fast asleep from his drunken escapade. Animal control had to sober him up pretty quickly and set him loose.
Let's see if he does that again, right?
Wow, the fact that he knew exactly where he wanted to go and just got locked in and knocked out at the same
Couldn't
time.
handle it.
All right, he's a lightweight.
Okay. Let me stop sharing this here really quick. All right. So you took this call, right?
Yes, and I was also the dispatcher for animal protection that day. So I did both. So yeah, so the guy calls, he says, I work for the ABC store in Ashland, and somebody broke in and got into the bottles. So we are very directed by protocols. So that wasn't enough information for me. So I'm pretty sure I said, well, tell me exactly what happened, because a person breaking into a store versus a raccoon breaking into a store, that's two different protocols. So uh, he said, well, actually, it was a raccoon, and there is alcohol all over the floor, and he is now in the bathroom spread eagle in between the trash can and the toilet. So I re-listened before this podcast to the call, and I cracked up on the phone with this guy. I'm like, are you serious? And so it was just a funny call.
Oh, I so when he tells you who the suspect is, I mean, you kind of said it already, but your thoughts, like in the back of your mind, because there's the thoughts that you say out loud, but in the back of your mind, you're probably like, this can't be real. Like,
True, because at first I'm thinking, okay, is it a breaking entering or is it a vandalism? So those are my two choices as far as a person.
yeah,
But then he says it's a raccoon. And I'm like, okay, now my brain completely switches over to I've got to do this, animal protection call.
right.
So then I'm just like, what? And so then some of the camaraderie you have, as soon as I hang up, I yell in the whole room, you guys, you got to read my call. So then everybody pulls the call up and reads it, and we're all dying laughing about that.
So how did you say this over the air? How did
So
you
I
give this
said,
out?
yeah, I think I said, copy a call at the ABC store in Ashland, and she says, go ahead. This Officer Martin that works for us, and she said, go ahead. And I said, the ABC store, a panda has broken in and smashed up some of the bottles and is now passed out on the bathroom floor. So she, I guess, holds her laughter in or whatever. She's like, 10-4, I'm en route. And then later on, when she clears, she said, well, I've picked him up. I'm giving him some time to sober up. Then I'm going to release him to the wild. So we were laughing about that as well.
Oh my Lord. That that is amazing. I saw this and I thought this has got to be fake. Like this is because there's so many videos out there right now, right? With AI that some of
Right.
them you can't tell if it's real or not.
I know.
And so when I saw this, I think I was scrolling on like X or something, and formerly Twitter. So I'm scrolling through and I see this and I thought, this isn't real. And then I looked into it a little more. I was like, this is real. I was like, holy crap. So I started sharing it and stuff. And then your coworker was like, that was our center. That was us. My coworker took that call. I was like, I got to get a hold of you. I need to have you on to not only share your story, but to also share this story because you don't always get a lot of this. So
No, and so like what you said, when we have all these intense calls and then you get something fun like this, and this has put our little county on the map. Like we have a little town, Ashland, in the middle of our county, and I mean they've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for our animal protection agency. So
what?
with the shirts that they put out, and then they had cups and all this, whatever this agency is that produced the shirts, they donated all this money. It's been really great.
Are they still selling shirts? I'm gonna have to buy one.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, look it up, or I'll send you the link.
Oh yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, that is great. Yeah, this was I it's just so funny. And on the screen right now, all I see is the raccoon just laying there passed out. Like what are the odds? Like you can just imagine, the raccoon itself is walking around and is just I don't know where to go, but
Yeah, literally.
maybe
What
the
are
bathroom.
the odds? Yeah, what are the odds? He ends right there.
I
Yeah.
know. It's just like, I think this is what the humans do. I'm gonna just lay here. It's so cold on my body.
That's so funny. I know, right? Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
that is excellent. Thank you so much for what you do in our profession, for coming on, for sharing your story. It has been an honor to have you on and share your story, but also to talk about this raccoon and stuff. Did you guys name it?
I think there's some names floating around, but not personally in our center. I don't
Oh,
think we
okay.
named it. Yeah.
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah.
So I've got one last question for you as we go into the wrap up of this. Again, it has been awesome to have you on. And my question is, I will preface this question with, this is not to change anything, because, there's a lot of stuff that we go through in this profession that bring us to the state that we're in right now, right? And, our thinking, all of that, any hard lessons that we learned along the way. But if you could go back in time to talk to yourself at the beginning of your career, what is something that you would say to yourself?
I think I would say, don't allow yourself to get jaded or, like, again, what we talked about earlier, treat each caller gently the way you would want to be treated if you were the one calling 911. And also, don't get wrapped up in any work drama, because that can happen. And like, we are such a close team, but then we can be negative in a lot of ways if somebody doesn't do something exactly like you want them to, or you know what I mean? Like, personalities don't always mesh. That's okay, because people are so different. I'm sure there's people that don't want to work with me sometimes, but like, we are a team that really has each other's back 100%. I know if any of us needed each other, we would be there for each other. So I would tell myself more to let some of that negativity go. And
I love that.
yeah. And just really be there for your callers and your responders, because that piece is very important to me, being there for the police and having them depend upon me and know that and the fire and EMS, that they can depend upon me, that I'm listening to them, whatever they need, I'm there for them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you again so very much for being on and what you do in this profession. It has been awesome to have you here.
I appreciate you even considering it. It's been quite a blessing being on here.
Well, thank you. That was good. I had so much fun with you. This was so good.
I took you back to your beginning days on some stuff.
Yes, you did. Oh man, I had some flashbacks there. I'll be right back here with you in just one moment if you hang tight. And for those who are watching and listening, if you have any comments, questions, you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can email us. The email is wttpodcast@gmail.com. But the easiest way to do all of this is to simply go to links.co/IM911, and that is links with 2 i's.co/IM911. You'll find everything there: email, social media, where to follow, where to hear the latest episodes of the Within the Trenches podcast, as well as the Imagine Listening podcast. The link to the free community, which is the Trenches. I've got over 200 hours of free continuing education there for 911 professionals. Also, 45 hours worth of the Dispatchers Roundtable. It's also the exclusive home for the Public Safety Showcase, which is going to be ramping up here again next month. So make sure to look out for all of that. Again, the link is on there for the Trenches community, and it's all free. So make sure to check it out. There's also links on there for the Imagine Listening books, Volume 1 and 2. I'm going to be working on Volume 3 soon, as well as the audiobook for Volume 2. And then for any dispatch or podcast merchandise, you can find it all there. Once again, it is links with 2 i's.co/IM911. Big shout out to our sponsor, Rapid SOS. Safer together. Thank you very, very much for everything. For all of you watching, supporting, sharing, listening, everything, I appreciate you. You can see this on Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn Live, and then you can see clips on Facebook, as well as Instagram Reels. So Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, as well as TikTok. And then you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you all in the next one. Imagine listening to someone's worst day every single day. Imagine listening as someone experiences life, through their worst nightmare to the miracle of birth or a life saved. I'm Ricardo Martinez, a former 911 dispatcher, and for years,
I've been recording the voices of a hidden world. Ours. I've provided a space for 911 dispatchers to share their powerful stories. It started as a peer support session and continues. Dispatchers sitting together, sharing out loud, or writing down what they couldn't say. Some stories will grip you. Stories of heartbreak, resilience, and calls that haunt us long after the line goes quiet. But imagine listening is more than heavy emotion. It's about healing. It's about laughing through the chaos, lifting each other up, and reminding the world that dispatchers are human too. The lighthearted will balance the heavy. Experience the power of storytelling, a podcast for the thin gold line and those who want to understand it. This is Imagine Listening. Your worst day is our everyday. Subscribe now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.